of the Vault is a psycho cult. 10 billion followers demand we join or die. We've got another proposal for them.
Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike here, and this is kind of like a little news segment I'm doing. We do the weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's going on, kind of in pulp culture. But there's such a big age gap between me and my co-host, where sometimes there's some things I want to talk about that he doesn't know anything about or he doesn't care to talk about. So I'm gonna make a quick little segment each week where just kind of, what are you reading, what are you watching, what are you into, what are you playing, what are you listening to, things like that. Just kind of a way to kind of shoot the shit. And I know this isn't necessarily book reviews, but I swear I'll try it into book reviews somehow. So cut me some slack. Obviously, the first question is going to be, what are you reading? I'm in that quick little holding pattern before The Institute by Stephen King comes out a week from today. And so I've been kind of reading some old Star Wars EU books. The Mandalorian came out, and I started talking about my love for the Star Wars EU, and it kind of gave me that itch to go back and read some old Star Wars books. And I'll actually probably end up doing a video on what the EU means to me and why I've gotten a kind of a rekindled fire to read the EU again. And if you know my opinion on the current Star Wars movies, you probably know the answer to that question. So I'll leave that for another thing. I'm also still working through Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's very cool. It's just, when you read nothing but sci-fi and fantasy and horror, and you get to something that's just straight up like a detective story or a crime drama or anything like that, it's a little bit of a slower read for you. It's nothing against the writing. I think it's fantastically written. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's just I'm just kind of slow rolling it. I do have a bunch of reviews that are in the pipe right now. Like I finished book 2 of The Demon Cycle by Peter V. Brett. It was called The Desert Spear. I still have to go do books 2 and 3 of the Red Rising saga, the original trilogy by Pierce Brown. And what else? There was something else I read that I was going to do a review on. See, I'm doing so many of them, guys. Oh, it was the second in the Broken Empire trilogy by Mark Lawrence. That was King of Thorns. So I do intend to do these, but that gives me the opportunity to kind of tell you like a quick little change that's going to be happening here on the channel. If it's a book that's part of a series and I'm binge reading that series as it's done, if it isn't something that's super dense like Wheel of Time, like that, the book review videos are going to start to get a little shorter. If you feel like you're wanting like a really plot by, just scene by scene breakdown, like I did when I first started this channel, it's probably going to not be quite like that anymore. And I think the reason is because I've used this phrase before, is I feel like I'm reading books now faster than I'm able to review them. It's because a lot of research and notes and that kind of stuff goes into making sure I do a thorough review. Like, for example, I just did a review on a bunch of the Lightbringer books by Brent Weeks, and all I get is, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about this. See, I mean, it's going to happen. When you got books that are this big, you're going to miss some things, because I just take some random notes while I'm reading it if I think it might end up being something I want to talk about later. So I will, it didn't mean that I missed it. It just mean I didn't think about it when I was trying to write a review or some kind of structure a review to talk about with you guys. So I think some of those reviews are going to start getting a little smaller. It seems like people have responded a lot more to the non-spoiler side of the reviews, so I think I'm going to kind of start doing instead of the way I do now, where it's a quick blurb about my non-spoiler thoughts and then extended research on my spoiler thoughts. I'm gonna kind of flip that around a little bit. I'm gonna do mostly non-spoiler talk and then a quick little thing of spoiler talk at the end maybe, or I might just start breaking my videos in half and I'll do a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review if it's something that I just have to talk about with you guys. I don't know. What do you guys think? Please let me know what you think. As far as what I am watching, a lot of people ask me the question I get most, besides when are you going to do the next Wheel of Time book, the question I get asked the most is, how do you read so fast? Well, guys, it's very simple. You give up any social life that you have. I'm 41 with 2 young boys, 7 and 4. I am a full-time student in school as well, and I'm married to a redhead, so that takes a lot of my time. Yeah. The way that you do this, guys, is, like I said, you give up your social life, and you don't watch very many movies or TV. Some people, I've kind of touched on this. I kind of try to keep politics away from things. I mean, as you saw with that Wheel of Time casting video, how nasty things can get in the comments when you bring up any sort of politics whatsoever. I feel like everything is so heavily politicized now, one way or the other, that it's just made fandom in movies and TV just exhausting, to the point to where I really reel back on the amount of TV that I watched. I don't see hardly any movies anymore if they're just political commentary. That's not what I want in my entertainment. I'm still one of those that likes to look at entertainment as a break from all of the real world shit going on. So if you're into that, that's awesome. I'm just not, personally. I could care less about your political view when I'm reading my Joker comics. I don't need that. That's not what I need. And I know people say, well, that stuff's always been there. It's a little different now then, though. It's a little more heightened than it used to be. It's a little more in your face now than it used to be. So, yeah, when I stopped watching many TV shows, I didn't stop really going to the cinema, because I was like, I'm not going to pay for people just to tell me how terrible of a person I am, and I feel like that's what a lot of it started to come down to. So I found more time to read books and stuff like that. And where this leads me to say that I actually am watching something right now, and while it's not book-related, it feels book-related. And I'm talking, of course, about Netflix's The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. Guys, this show is fantastic. And if you just can't accept the Muppets thing, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way. A lot of people have asked me, hey, I never watched the movie, when I was a kid. Would I still enjoy this? And I don't have an answer for you. I don't know if you're removed from the childhood nostalgia, how you'll feel about Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. All I know is that if you can wrap your mind around that there are no human actors, and it is all 100% puppets and Muppets, and you didn't grow up with Jim Henson stuff, man, I'm just really sorry. But if you can accept that, man, you're going to love this, because I feel like this is the most fantasy-rich in its writing, in its lore, in its characters, in its action. This is the best that we've seen on screen since Lord of the Rings, and I don't say that lightly. I thought that this was just going to be 100% just like a nostalgia rub. I was like, hey, yeah, I remember I loved that movie with a kid, and this is fun seeing this again. But the writing is really, really good. The stakes are really good. The cinematography is incredible. I mean, there's so many times that I just want to rewind it and just look at the cinematography again, just the landscapes, just the framing. If you're into how you make film at all, it looks cinematic. It is absolutely incredible looking. And Jim Henson has to be proud. I mean, it weaves together, practical effects with CGI seamlessly. And I'm one of those CGI snobs where I see so much CGI in movies now. Like, look at that last act in Black Panther. The CGI was so rough that it took me out of the movie to where I didn't feel like I was watching a movie anymore. This does it so seamlessly. It's the way that I want it done. I want CGI to be like a Band-Aid, not to, just completely replace what's on screen. Just for a little assistance. And in this, it's done so well. It was like episode 4, and there was a sword fight between 2 characters and a baddie that has 4 arms, like General Grievous or something, 4 swords. And they're fighting, and I'm like, I cannot believe that this show is making a Muppet sword fight just on the edge of your seat. It was incredible. And then you have character deaths that are meaningful. The soundtrack's amazing. You got Mark Hamill doing the voice of scientist. It's really, really good, guys. Highest of recommends. If you're into the fantasy genre at all, dig in, because it is for you. Again, if you can't let go of the Muppets thing, I'm really sorry, because you're missing an incredible, incredible series. I showed my kid the movie about a month ago to see if he was going to want to watch this with me. He loved it, and he walks around the house and going, like scientists did in the movie. And he does it much better than me. He's got a higher voice. And he's watching the series with me, and a lot of people have asked me, is it okay to watch with my kids? My kid's 7. It depends on your kid, really. If your kid's one of those that gets nightmares real easily or something like that, maybe not. If you're like me, you grew up in the 80s, and you know what I call dark Amblin, which is that there was no PG-13 back then. It was PG or it was R. So you would get a PG movie that has some dark things happening in it, and there is some twisted stuff in here. You've got character deaths, you've got blood, you've got dismemberment. So if you think your kid can't handle stuff like that, then yeah, just use your discretion. Don't be like, oh, Mike said this was great to watch, and now my kid's like keeping me up all night. No, use some discretion. It depends on your kid. My kid was watching Lord of the Rings when he was like 4, so he's all into this kind of stuff, and chopping an orc's head off isn't going to bother him at all. So again, just be a parent. That's all I'll say. But highest of recommends. What am I listening to? Tool. Tool finally put out a new album, and I was joking the other day that the last time Tool put out a new album, I had a flip phone and I had not met my wife yet. So that's how long ago it was that Tool put out a new album. So anytime that Tool puts out something new, it's going to get my attention. Tool was that band that I discovered in high school. I think the video for Sober came out, and I was like, man, this is a messed up video. So I went and bought the album. I was like, yeah, it's good. It's a really good rock album. But then it was like my senior year, they came out with the album Enema, however you want to say that. And it completely like opened my third eye, so to speak, of what modern rock music could be, to a point to where I studied that album like our folks did with Pink Floyd albums, without the drugs. So every time Tool puts out a new album, it's one of those things where I feel like I have to study it. It feels like homework that you want to do. And so I can't really tell you with Fear Inoculum how I would rate it. I like it a lot, but and I already think it's better than their last one, 10,000 Days, but I can't really give it a grade yet or anything like that, because I feel like a Tool album, you have to listen to it about 100 times before you know. And I'd say I'm probably on about 15 or 16 right now. It's a 77-minute album, I believe it was, and most of the songs are like in between 10 and 15 minutes long. So there's definitely some listening involved where if you get like fatigued over stuff like that, and it does happen, if you're just into straight commercial rock or pop or R&B or rap or whatever, Tool's not the band for you. That's a very niche band, and I know it seems pretentious to a lot of people that the Tool fans seem that way, but I'm someone who does not listen to very much new music anymore. So when a band like Tool comes out with something, obviously that's going to it shows how big of a deal it is that it went straight to the front. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I am into sports. I know that's weird for a lot of people that are into the fantasy genre and comic books. They think that you can't like sports for whatever reason. I love sports. So I put all those podcasts aside to listen to this new album, and that shows you how important that it was. And I'll just say that after that many years, it's way better than it had any business being, because if it could have come out and been like a complete pile of shit like the new Perfect Circle did, and it wouldn't have surprised me. But it's still very good. They're coming in concert in October. I don't know if I want to get into that. I've reached that age now where I feel like when you're paying more for fees and you pay for the movie or for the concert ticket, it's just not worth it anymore. I am going to see Iron Maiden later this month, because that's on my bucket list. That's one of my favorite bands ever that I've never seen live. And at their age, you think every time they come through, this might be the last time. So I wanted to make sure I got that one off my bucket list. But I've seen Tool 2 times already. I don't think I'll probably be going to see them again. But other than that, not a whole lot going on around here. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to do a video to talk about things. I'm going to see It Chapter 2 on Thursday, and I'll probably do a quick video review, like thoughts of that. I did my It video review for the novel, which is, like I said before, my second favorite book of all time. I'll put that up here for you to listen to. And but we're actually doing, for a Geek Media Core podcast, we're going to be doing a full-on spoiler review, probably be like 2 hours long, where we just completely break down the entire plot and I will be comparing things to the book. So if you haven't read the book and you want to, and you haven't seen the movie and you haven't want to, I'd stay away from that until you at least see the movie, because we will be fully spoiling the movie. Anything else I don't really know about, guys? Joker's coming out. It's got really good reviews. It doesn't look like my Joker. I don't know. I'm a Marvel or a DC guy. I've always been. I love them all. I've been a huge fan of DC Comics since I was a kid, so I always tend to lean that way. I love the Marvel movies, just like everybody else, most of them. There are some that I'm like, that was amazing, guys. Come on. But I'm not really. I don't know if I'm just like burned out on it, or I'm just not finding myself caring anymore. So I don't think there's very much coming out this fall that I'm really anxious to talk about. I'll talk about my thoughts on Star Wars when I do that EU video and stuff like that. But what are you guys doing? What are you watching? What do you listen to? What are you playing? Borderlands 3 comes out in 10 days. That's a video game I'll actually make a point to go out and get on day one so I can play it. That's something that me and my wife love to play together. We still play Borderlands 2, and it's like, 8 years old now? So that's a really big deal in video games, and I'm excited for that one. Anything you guys looking forward to playing, watching, seeing, reading, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about this. Help me out. Hit that subscribe button. I had a goal of 500 subscribers before the year ended, and I got to that really quick. And then I said, let's go ahead and adjust it to 750 before the end of the year. And last I checked, I was only like 30 away from that. So guys, thank you so much. If you could like, comment, all that stuff that helps people find the channel.